Welcome. Now you can see me. So welcome to the 5 mistakes moms make that decrease their homeschool mom happiness. If you haven't already met me, I'm Teresa Wiedrick. I'm a certified life coach and homeschool mentor here on the YouTube channel and also on my Homeschool Mama Self-Care podcast, my website, capturingthecharmedlife.com. Welcome to today's webinar, and thank you for your patience as, of course, right at the very last minute, I have giant tech issues. Thankfully, I have a teenage son who helped me figure that out. Okay, so welcome. I'd love to hear why you're here, the reasons that compelled you to join this webinar today. If you throw your thoughts in the comments below, I'm so excited to share this time with you. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed or burned out from years of homeschooling and maybe just a little disconnected from your happiness in homeschooling, then you're in the right place. I know firsthand that experience, how challenging the homeschool lifestyle can be because, and also on the other side of homeschooling, the joys and the beautiful memories, all the moments. I see how remarkable this homeschool family and learning lifestyle really is. And it has been for me. Last night, actually, I was looking at my phone, having to upload all the photos to the computer or to Dropbox because I have too many photos, and these photos go years and years and years back. And I can see that there are so many games we played and so many new foods we cooked, remarkable trips and field trips. And it was just a very rich family life. And I can see all the beautiful charms in each of those photos, but I can also see, and I know you also experience the challenges of this homeschool lifestyle. But today we're going to talk about the 5 common mistakes that can secretly steal your happiness in your homeschool lifestyle. And by the end of our time together, you'll know how to address them. You'll walk away with practical steps or tools to help you enjoy your homeschool journey again. So before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. Just type in, if you're comfortable sharing a little bit about yourself, what brought you here today, or just share your favorite emoji, just show how you're feeling about homeschooling right now. And I'm going to look for those comments. So I know there's, at this time of year, kind of a mix of excitement, sometimes frustration as we start discovering that everything isn't quite rolling out the way that we want to, the plans that we had in the beginning of the year. If you've been homeschooling for a long time and you told yourself at the end of last year, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, but you're feeling exhausted already. I saw that on threads yesterday, people saying, is it normal to feel this way at this time? There's no normal. There's just whatever you are. So that, whatever you're experiencing, totally normal. Experiencing a few things at the same time, normal too. Wherever you're at, it's okay. And you're going to leave today with a few tools to make everything a little bit more manageable. If you have already met me, I'd love to hear how you met me, if you'd share that with me. I've homeschooled for nearly 2 decades in total, and like many of you, I've had my fair share of stressful moments, and I've learned organically how to build a homeschool family life that worked for me and for my family. And I've helped many other moms do the same through my homeschool life coaching programs. I specialize in helping moms like you avoid burnout, reclaim your satisfaction, and homeschool with confidence. Satisfaction? Really? Homeschool with confidence? Can it be done? It can be done. You can do it the long way, the way that I did it, learning as I went, and or you could just do it alongside other people that have been there, done that. I really believe that whatever our choices are in life, we should feel fulfilled in them, or feel like there's a real deep sense of purpose in what we're doing, and not. This homeschool lifestyle affects our family, but it's also affecting us. So I think it should be fulfilling for our kids and for us. And today I'm going to show you how to avoid those 5 mistakes that I've seen repeatedly that decrease homeschool moms' happiness. So before we get started, quick win. Something you can do right now to begin shifting your mindset. If you haven't already done this, block out just 15 minutes a day for you, whether it's journaling, scheduling a mindful moment into the most challenging part of your day to check in with yourself, see how you're doing, or just taking a mindful walk at the end of the day. This small act of looking after you is really a useful way to reset your mindset, get for you to know yourself better, and to actually learn your patterns over the course of time. It'll help you understand how to approach the home education element and also each of your kids and yourself. That right there made a huge difference for me. Learning to spend time with me, specifically asking myself, how are you doing? It helps sometimes to look in the mirror as you're doing that, to recognize that you're a person outside of what's going on in your brain. It's almost like we don't see that we are actually a person beyond, a separate person in the family. We are just on autopilot, doing whatever we think we need to do next. And we're not aware that we are a separate person, another human in our family too. So looking at ourselves in the mirror helps really remind us of that. So now that we've touched on the importance of essentially mindfulness or mindful or thought self-care, I want to talk about the meat of today's webinar. So the 5 common mistakes homeschool moms make that steal their happiness, and more importantly, how to avoid them. So these are the things I see over and over again in my coaching practice, and I'm hoping to help you steer clear of them. So mistake number 1, everybody ready? Trying to do everything perfectly. First up, perfectionism. We might not even always identify that this is a challenge that we experience, but we've all been there when we've set expectations to our day and they didn't happen as we thought they would. Our day didn't happen the way it did, or maybe months into our homeschool, we discover this curriculum that we bought, it's not working for us. Or I'm not able to maintain the routine flawlessly. Or I go on social media and I see other people's homeschool spaces or their activities, and I go, those are really cool. And really, I couldn't do that. Or maybe, and this is the one that I see as the greatest challenge in a homeschool mom experience, is that we perfectly want to be available, emotionally available all the time for our kids. Do you resonate with that one? But here's the thing, perfectionism in any form or any area of our life is a happiness killer. When we strive to be perfect, we end up feeling stressed, putting unrealistic expectations on others as well as ourselves, because nothing ever feels good enough. So our goal, instead of chasing perfection, we would possibly use these 3 words, a question, to ask ourselves what really matters in every scenario. And if we get clear and prioritize what matters most in maybe the choices that we make around homeschooling or the experiences we choose, or literally everything that compels us to feel like this isn't good enough, if we ask the question, what really matters, then we can get clear on focusing on the most important thing. Now, I come by this story honestly, because if you know the name of my website, it's capturingthecharmedlife.com. When I first started homeschooling, that's when I started my blog. And I was really recording all the stories and the experiences that I had early in my homeschool days. I titled the website Capturing the Charmed Life, because my goal was to have a charmed homeschool life. I was trying to replace a hard childhood with a picture-perfect family of creation experience. And I had great expectations, like possibly greater expectations than the book, because I wanted to go from black to white. I wanted everything to be aligned. And my desire for perfect really originated from not that I wanted perfect, but more that my life didn't feel good enough. And I often hear a lot of people associate their experience of not good enough, things don't feel good enough, with their compelling to want to be perfect. But where does that not good enough feeling arise? Well, popular opinion says that you spend too much time comparing on social media, but I don't actually think that's the source. I think that's an easy out, in fact. I've learned that in coaching and listening to other women that the root often originates decades before you become a homeschool parent. Either you were told you weren't good enough, or there was a pivotal moment or a few pivotal moments where you determined that you needed to do certain things to get the stamp of approval or to get the affirmation of others or yourself that you were good enough. You needed to do better. You needed to prove to others or yourself that you were good enough. Oftentimes it's proving to yourself more than it is to yourself or to others. But it continues into this phase of life where you can't quite reach good enough, but you're trying to do it in this home education environment. Quick win here. In the upcoming fall retreat, I'm going to go a little deeper into addressing this not good enough experience, but I'll give you a quick tool to begin to address this now. And it's a very simple one that sometimes moms find challenging to incorporate into their days, but it has a profound effect. It's called journaling, if you're not already doing it. And here's a simple way to incorporate journaling. Essentially, you can set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you have. Keep it short, keep it manageable. Don't try to be, writing an essay or doing some long form sort of thing if you're not accustomed to writing already. Just ask yourself certain key questions. What did I do well today? What went differently than I expected? How did I feel when that happened? And what really matters right now? No editing allowed. Just write whatever comes to you. This is something that's private, so you don't have to worry about what other people think. It's you acknowledging to yourself what's really going on in your world. Write freely. Don't worry about the grammar. If you want, just do voice to text on your phone. The goal is not to make it perfect. The point is just to let your true, deepest thoughts flow. Then reflect on your patterns. As you journal regularly, you're going to begin to notice patterns in your thinking, especially around this focus of perfectionism and not feeling good enough. Can you recognize if you watch these patterns or these stories unfold in, say, a good friend's life? Would you say, hey, you're being too hard on yourself? You're being unrealistic. You're expecting too much from your day. You're expecting too much from your kids, or maybe you're just expecting too much from yourself. Journaling can create that self-coaching, self-awareness opportunity to help you get a little bit more clear on your patterns and begin to let go of your unrealistic expectations. Okay, so mistake number 2, overscheduling. So I've seen moms try to squeeze in every activity, music lessons, sports, extracurriculars, all the academic subjects. And it's no wonder you're feeling burned out. And I'm just going to say that I was one of those moms. I was one of the moms trying to squeeze in every activity. And the reality is less is more. People say that for a reason. But when we live in the culture that we do, we're always feeling compelled to do a little bit more. And we think, but we have so many opportunities. We want our kids to have all the experiences, be exposed to everything, to discover if this is really what they want to be doing. Well, when you simplify your schedule and focus on fewer, more meaningful activities, you'll not only feel more relaxed, but your kids will also thrive because you're giving them the space to explore and learn at their own pace. They are actually going to enjoy their lives more. And you'll notice it too, whether you're introverted or extroverted. You're going to see that the kids are more satisfied. And frankly, they'll possibly be more creative. If I've noticed anything, it is that we don't get solitude in our culture. We don't even do it in our homeschools, but we definitely need it. And when we do, we're far more likely to be creative. Okay, so let's see. I would be curious, actually, if this is a challenge for you, if you would share down below. If overscheduling is something that you're experiencing in your community, if people are asking you to do more, they're suggesting that maybe you could be doing more. The problem is that we don't create enough margins in our life. We don't create enough margins to get to the next place sometimes, we're overscheduling. We don't create enough margins to get a nutritious meal. We don't create enough margins to recognize, like this is my experience, that sometimes it takes 20 minutes to find your child's shin pads before you head out to soccer. That there's going to be a kiddo that's like, Mom, I don't know how to put the seatbelt on, or so-and-so is bugging me. And we don't accommodate for the margins of time or the buffer time that we need to peacefully go to the next activity. I think a great tool to combat overscheduling is time blocking. Time blocking is a way to bring more of that feeling of balance into your homeschool day and prevent the experience of burnout or just dissatisfaction and stress. When we time block, we're being realistic with what we're doing in a real day. So here's how you can use a time audit in order to clarify what you're doing in your time and what you're going to do as you time block. So first, you're going to ask yourself what really matters. Define your core priorities. Define, the 2 or 3 most important things that you want to accomplish every day, whether that's your core subjects, your creative play, or family time, literally anything that's meaningful to you. Write it down. You can you can ask me for a time audit. I do have that also. You can go over to Google into a PDF or printable and type in time audit or time blocking. And then it's going to show you perhaps, a start at 7 in the morning all the way till midnight or something. We'll assume you're sleeping between 12 and 7, assuming you don't have little ones. But so from 7 onward, what are you doing? Maybe you're still sleeping from 7 to 8, and then 8 o'clock is your start time. And then 8 to 8:30, you're going to do a little bit of, food prep, or maybe that's your quiet time before kids get up. All of the days or the hours in the day, you're going to determine what you're going to do with those. It's not obviously going to happen all the time, as we know. We have to learn to be flexible and reality. We have to accept reality that we're actually homeschooling kids and they aren't always going to be on schedule like we'd hope. But when we look at a full week of blocks and how we've determined to use them, we get clear on how much time things take and whether we can actually include all the things. And in my experience, I could not include all the things. It was a really useful tool, the time audit, to help me understand it was impossible to do all the things. I was trying to cram in way more than was possible. But not only did I need more time in a day to accomplish what I wanted, I needed space between the activities to have a buffer or quiet time so I could enjoy that time, that I could experience peaceful transitions. It's useful to build in downtime. It's a common conversation point to talk about quiet afternoon times. And I think it's a really amazing way, not only for you to get more quiet, but also your kids discover that they can independently play or they can do creative exploration that perhaps you haven't prescribed, using their solitude or possibly their boredom, but moving into creative things because of that solitude. And you built that time in for them to discover those things. I can also talk to you about being flexible, but I'm going to tell you something. I know that one needs to be flexible when they are a homeschool parent. That was not my strong suit. So I have learned when I'm chatting with people that they have the same reaction I do to being flexible most times. We don't want to be flexible. We very much value what we've planned or intended. And also reality check. It just is not always going to happen as we want because life doesn't always happen. Even the beginning of this webinar, for reasons I still don't understand, if it's a Wi-Fi thing, it didn't connect. It wasn't connecting. And that was not part of my plan. But you have to roll with the flow sometimes and you learn from those moments as well. So they can be useful. It's not ideal, but learning to be flexible is definitely part of a homeschool mom life. So mistake number 3 is common. Heard it yesterday in conversation with one mom. I don't have time to address my needs. Ignoring your needs. So some people talk about wellness strategies. Some people refer to this as self-care. All I know is that ignoring your own needs is a surefire way to feel overwhelmed and resentful. The most, I think, cliche, overused phrase is that, and I'm going to repeat it though, because it's 100% accurate, is that you can't pour from an empty cup, and homeschooling is not any different. You need to refill, even if it's just a few minutes here and there. It will make you feel more peaceful, less stressed, better equipped to support your family. This is actually originally why I began this entire journey to life coach homeschool moms, because I sat in my fruit orchard over there with the chickens pecking at my red toenails, and I wrote a book that I thought would resonate with other homeschool parents, because it most definitely resonated with me. My book is called Homeschool Mama Self-Care, Nurturing the Nurturer. If you haven't heard about the book, you can find it over on Amazon. And you know why I thought it would resonate with you? Because it most resonated with me. Of the 5 things over the last decade and a half at that point of homeschooling, there were 5 different things that I saw on repeat as challenges that homeschool parents experienced. And it was this area that I thought was the one that we most overlooked, was looking after ourselves and our needs. So it resonated with me, but actually I've come to understand that this is the hardest part of homeschooling. It's not teaching lessons to the kids. It's not figuring out how to get somebody to read. It's not how to anything except for learning the life lessons that this homeschool lifestyle wants to teach you. The hardest part of homeschooling isn't teaching lessons. It's learning the life lessons that this homeschool lifestyle wants to teach you. P.S. If you're joining me for the upcoming fall weekend retreat, you're going to get a signed hard copy for free in the good old-fashioned snail mail, along with a surprise self-care package. So one tool that you could use or incorporate, actually, you know what I'm going to share with you? First of all, the self-care angle. I think oftentimes people are thinking in very superficial terms about what exactly self-care is and how it can be beneficial to other people or to homeschool parents. And it is almost never, in my mind, it is almost never things like, manicures and pedicures. And it's pretty clear that I think that. I won't show you for very long, but this is not what I'm referring to. I believe the most important things are thought self-care, how we frame things or understand things, what our perspective is. That's why those mindfulness moments are so impactful, or journaling practices, or coaching, or spending time with a good friend who can act as a gentle accountability partner. So consider that your self-care isn't just about doing the pretty things or the fun things, although I do think they're important. I think the most important thing you can do is ask yourself, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? Why am I thinking what I'm thinking? And work alongside someone who can help to uncover your thoughts, your thought challenges, so you can reframe how you're seeing everything. Okay, so mistake number 4, comparing your homeschool to others. So comparing is the thief of joy, they say. And I see this happen so often. It's so much easier these days with Instagram and TikTok. You look at other homeschool families on social media and you think they're doing it better than me. Their kids are more engaged. Their lessons are more creative. My child has a business, but their child has a successful snowblowing job an entire summer long, or winter long, not summer long. That would be impressive. And my child just has a lemonade stand. There's so many different ways to see your child compared to another person's child, or your homeschool with another person's homeschool. But here's the thing. I wouldn't tell you not to go on Instagram or TikTok. I actually think there's a remarkable potential for community there. I think there's more benefits than disadvantages if you're engaging it in a healthy way. But here's the thing. Every family is unique. Your homeschool doesn't have to look like anyone else's homeschool, because your values, your needs, your goals, your children are different. So not only does it not need to look different or look like anybody else's, but I don't think it actually should look the same. How could it if you have very different people in your homeschool? So your goal is to focus on your journey and what works for your family. So when a mom comes to me with frustration, and oftentimes when I'm having our initial consultation, I hear many conversations around, I'm trying to make my routine work, or I have a certain kind of schedule and it's not quite working for me and I'm really frustrated by this. Or, there's a lot of discussion around the actual homeschool experience, the homeschool itself. And, maybe they want the child to sit at the table longer, or follow through with something, or learn something that they should have learned a long time ago. Or she's embarrassed because her child isn't doing the same thing as her, child's cousin who's in school. Well, here's where I start. I ask 2 questions. Tell me about your kiddo. What's working for him or her? And what's working, in your opinion, in your homeschool? What's not? Tell me about your child. What do you know about their interests or their age or their development or their attention span? What have you learned about motivation, or how or if you can motivate a child? What compels motivation, or what detracts from motivation? Does your child feel like he or she gets enough attention? Can he or she contribute to his or her homeschool, their desires or their opinions or their way of learning? Learning to individualize an education is most definitely a privilege of the homeschool family. So take it. And that's the thing. Most of us don't. At least we don't start that way. We kind of transfer whatever it is we thought school was into our own homeschools and our own homeschool experience. And then we say, it should be like this. We should be able to accomplish the things that we did there and do it faster, but we can do it more completely and do even more of it. But actually, this is a homeschool. This isn't a school. We don't need to take that school and bring it into our home. We certainly can if we want to, but we don't have to. We can have and use the privilege of this homeschool experience in whatever way serves our specific family. So whether you need to deschool your educational mindset, or ask yourself what you believe in education is anyway, what's its purpose? Or ask yourself how you learned as a child and why doing this approach in your homeschool matters to you now. Or simply continue on the journey to lean into child-inspired learning, I call it. Some people will call it self-directed education or child-led learning. I really like the phrase child-inspired learning, because we parents do often want our kids to learn some things, or we do want to introduce them to certain things. So it's not entirely child-led. Unless, of course, you're a radical unschooler, then you probably wouldn't relate to what I just said. But a child-inspired education is where I encourage people to lean into, no matter what method you're engaging. Because this education is about that child. Who your kids aren't the same as anyone else's kids. You are educating your child, the one right in front of you. You're not educating other people's kids. They're not educating yours. So keep your head down. Don't focus on other people's homeschooled kids. Focus on yours. What do they need? Mistake number 5 is not asking for help. I certainly experienced that myself. We are a rather self-sufficient, independent bunch, and I think it's pretty cool, actually. I think it would be beneficial for a generation to become more aware of who they are and why they're living their lives, and if they're living their lives intentionally. But sometimes, because we are an independent, self-sufficient bunch, we tell ourselves we can do it alone. And we can, but then it can also feel isolating. And you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're finding a local homeschool group just to rub shoulders with, get outside and meet some new people, reach out to a family that's a neighborhood family. They don't even have to be a homeschool family. Or you can work with me as a coach, or you can build a support network like the Confident Homeschool Mom Collective, which, by the way, will be engaging in just a few minutes. When you have people to lean on, homeschooling becomes much more supportive, but also more fun. And when you're doing pretty much anything with anyone, it's more sustainable. When I began working with new homeschool moms, they often, like a specific, I should say, when I'm beginning a coaching program with a new homeschool mom, so she doesn't have to be a new homeschooler, but she's new to me in my coaching work, I've learned that she feels alone in her experience. She feels like whether it's a challenge she has with her partner, or it's a challenge she has with her in-laws, or she just feels like a specific child is making things really difficult, or she knows she's got unrealistic expectations, but she doesn't know how to let it go. So many possible reasons I might be working with a mom. But she, no matter what the scenario is, she feels alone. That's what I hear. She feels alone, that this is an unusual experience. And I have the privilege of walking alongside so many different people, different stories, different worldviews, different ways of homeschooling, different kids, obviously, a lot of different stuff. And the one commonality I see is that we think we're alone. And I would love to say to the world, I would like you to actually see this for your own eyes. You're really not. You're not alone if you have challenges in your homeschool. You're not alone if you have challenges being married. You're not alone if you're challenged by relationships in your family or in your community or in your religious community. Or you're not alone if you're feeling like your child isn't learning the way you think they should be. Or you're not alone if you're thinking, I can't get this routine down. And some days I want it and some days I don't. And you're not alone in any of these experiences. In fact, you are alone if you are not having any of those experiences. This is when you know you're alone, is if you're not challenged by certain elements of your family life. It's challenging to be connected and to really understand what's going on in people's, to share the load of this homeschool lifestyle when we don't invest time being with other people and we don't invest time being in relationship, risking our true selves to be in relationship with other people. That's when we're more likely to be alone and feel like we have no way out of this aloneness. We're always going to feel disconnected. We're always going to be the odd person out. But we don't have to be. I know I'm privileged to walk alongside women who home educate their kids and hear these stories, but I know for certain you don't have to do this alone. Not anymore. You absolutely can, and most homeschool parents do, but you don't have to. If you want to listen to Renee's story, she's a homeschool mom of 4 kiddos, almost entirely grown now. She said, this time with Teresa was super helpful. Teresa helped me see the roots behind surface level issues. The coaching program was the impetus to help me think more deeply about my homeschool and relational whys, to get to a place to see where change needed to be made. Her kindness and compassion gave me a safe place to speak my heart, and her responses helped me feel empowered for this next chapter in our homeschool journey. And she said, and the evolving chapter of the relationships with our teen and young adult children. I now have infinitely better boundaries with our teenage daughter, and I no longer feel like our relationship hangs by a thin thread. I feel much more motivated in my homeschool days and have made major shifts that have restored the joy in our homeschool. I'm also learning to lean in to the new season with other children, older children, and embrace the joy found in the present rather than pining for the past. It was a pleasure to work with Renee. I get that pining for the past thing. That's kind of some energy of what I was doing when I was uploading all my photos yesterday to the computer, realizing, wow, these last 10 or 15 years, the bulk of our really heavy homeschool years were really saturated with a lot of challenges, but a lot of fun moments, a lot of really cool memories. And it isn't the way it was once upon a time, because kids are growing up. Apparently, they're supposed to do that. But it was such a pleasure to walk alongside Renee to really get clear for her in her relationship with her teenage daughter. Or you can listen to Danielle's story. She's a homeschool mom of 5. She said, I said it before, and I'll say it again. You're such a treasure. I'm smiling and in tears. I can't remember the last time I felt this safe to talk to someone and share difficult, vulnerable things from my heart and my past, while knowing that I would get compassionate validation, and wise advice. To have someone I deeply respect and admire listen to me, laugh with me, cry with me, get curious with me, and help me see things from a different perspective means so much more than I could ever put into words. Please know in the depths of your heart that you are making a meaningful difference in the world, helping women, family, friends, communities, me, grow and heal. And I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. How cool is that? It is super cool to be working in my home in the Kootenays of the British Columbia, oftentimes as a podcaster in my closet, and then connecting with women from around the world. And that can be you too, by the way. If you want to join me in the retreat is October, I think it's 5th and 6th, a weekend retreat coming up. And this is actually Cheryl's story. She is a homesteader and a homeschool mom of 4, and she attended one of my retreats. She said, I feel like you know me. You offered helpful suggestions to rejuvenate and offered and equip any homeschool mom in whatever stage she might find herself in. I enjoyed your candor and your laughter, your caring and your insights. You've allowed the experiences that have challenged you to be the catalyst to helping others. This retreat is for anyone who has lost sight of themselves while living a busy life and wants to refocus on what's truly important. I hope all of your retreats bear fruit in deflated women like me, changing their defeat into delight once again, or for the first time. At our first session, I told you that I was looking for hope, and the tools unpacked in this retreat have given me hope. I recommend this retreat to everyone. Your voice has a soothing quality. I can't get around that. I always wonder, like, soothing or soporific? Like, am I putting you to sleep or is it soothing? Anyway, I've heard that so many times. I did not know that about me until I started coaching these last number of years. Anyways, she said, it's a special time. Teresa is a gift with the best humor. I'm so blown away by the care you take getting to know others. It's so rare these days. Well, you don't have to do this homeschool thing alone. Know this. This is my goal in being here, is you don't have to do it alone. If you'd like to join me for the upcoming retreat, I'm calling it the Reimagine and Renew Retreat. I want to personally invite you because we can go a lot deeper into your journey of renewing or reimagining your homeschool. It's a chance to just step away from your typical homeschool routine and connect with a community of like-minded moms who focus the way you focus, trying to dedicate time to focusing on your needs and your growth and creating a homeschool environment that really serves you and your kids. And it's always a pleasure to do this. I only do this twice a year, in spring and in fall. And that's actually where I started. The first offering that I offered was the retreat. And it has been a really pleasurable time with moms to really decompress from their mindsets that have been working against them over the last number of months or years. So we're going to talk about practical strategies, mindset shifts, and wellness practices that will make you feel more balanced and prolong your joy in your homeschool life. You also get a pre-retreat virtual coaching session if you sign up, a signed copy of my book, Homeschool Mama Self-Care, Nurturing the Nurturer. This retreat is limited to 8 spots, not 12, as it's shared somewhere here. 8 spots. I like to keep things intimate, and the first people to register will get free access to the Confident Homeschool Mom Collective, where you can continue building that connection and support for the month. If you're ready to take that step, just reserve your spot today. Ask me for a link and I'll get it to you. Now, if you want to close your eyes for a second and just imagine this. You're waking up each morning feeling more alive and more joyful. You're feeling anticipatory for this one sweet homeschool day. You're calm, you feel connected to your kids, and the stress and the overwhelm have truly begun to dissipate. That's the vision that I have for you. That's the one that I want for you. If you recognize and avoid these 5 mistakes, you can create a homeschool life that's peaceful and more fulfilling. So if you're ready to make a change, to shift into something that's going to serve you and your kids more, you're also welcome to join me with or in a no obligation conversation to see if we have a rapport, if we can connect, and if you want to go deeper and create a personalized plan to change things in your homeschool. What I do is I work with you to create an action plan, and we'll map out strategies to avoid burnout, to reclaim your joy, and homeschool with confidence. So ask me for a registration link or a booking link, and I'd be happy to connect with you next week. And for all of those who stuck around to the end, congratulations. I've got a special bonus for you. It's the Wellness Journal for Homeschool Moms. It's designed to help you build a daily mindfulness practice that will help keep you grounded and more peaceful in your homeschool days. So join me over in the Confident Homeschool Mom Collective. In just a few minutes, I will give you the link. If you are part of it's Confident Homeschool Mom Collective on Patreon. There's a free membership. So if you just want to come check us out and have a conversation today, you're welcome to do that. If it doesn't work to continue our conversation today, that's fine too. But I'd love to hear from you. What is the most useful thing that you've heard or learned from me today? Drop it in the chat while I check out the comments let's just see here. And if you're joining me in the Confident Homeschool Collective, let's head over there for a chat. I'm going to actually share one more mistake. And frankly, it's probably the biggest one. After I wrote this webinar, I decided there really is one more thing that was stuck in my craw yesterday that I see on repeat that I don't think anyone ever talks about in the homeschool space. And I think it's time that we start talking about this. So join me in the Confident Homeschool Mom Collective in just a few minutes. And if you can't find the link, put it in the comments section and I will make sure to get you the link. And it was a pleasure spending time with you today. I look forward to getting to know you more. We'll talk to you soon.